Hi, I'm Michelle Clary, and I'm going to be presenting on the internal and external communications chart for Clark Middle School. Our objective for this chart is to improve the internal and external communication systems with a specific goal of creating open two-way communication between the school board, leadership team, administration, staff, students, parents, and the USD 204 community. The tool I use to make this chart is MindMeister, the extension of one of the extensions from Chrome. I thought the MindMeister was pretty easy to manipulate after I watched the visual tutorials of how to use it. I'm also glad that I started early on this so I had time to manipulate the chart. I did end up paying for the personal use ability. I had a 50% off promo code, which helped a lot. But in order for me to make it a PDF copy to upload it for this assignment, I needed to pay for that personal use. In developing my chart, I chose the background of this black and orange, one because it's our school colors, our district colors, and I thought the black would pop more on a website if I was talking about this visually, like in this presentation. But when I made the PDF of it, it was not visually appeasing at all. It just looked like a big black blob. So if I had to do this again, I would definitely change the background when I was making my paper copies for distribution. Okay, so let's take a look at my two targeted audiences. My first target audience I'm going to talk about is my external target audience. And the external target audience is parents, prospective employees, PTO, Booster Club, Bonner Springs and Edwardsville Parks and Recs, business communities, elected officials, civic groups, community groups, Kansas City, Kansas Community College, Kansas City, Kansas Career and Technical Education, electronic media that we're using is our school website, email, Facebook, and print media and newsletters. The internal target audience it includes our students, staff at the site level, classified level, license level, administrators, district level, classified and licensed administrators, the school board, and the Bonner Springs Edwardsville Educational Foundation. So between these two groups of people, there needs to be a two-way communication. And we do this on a weekly basis with written and digital distribution through our e-newsletter, email, text, and peach jar format and social media. Oral communication before COVID-19 shutdown probably occurred once a month with phone calls and face-to-face communication. But that changed when COVID-19 school shutdown hit. We had face-to-face communication with the help of Zoom. It occurred anywhere from 1 to 5 times a week. And we had weekly digital distribution of using Google Classroom and emails of assignments and feedback on the assignments. Our methods of communication were skyward, and I used picture icons to help people, non-readers, I suppose, that would help relate skyward to the symbol. And then the arrow with the circle on it, if you had a Wi-Fi or you were using the website, if you clicked that arrow represents a link that would take you directly to the skyward link. And then we also used Facebook, and same thing with the arrow. It takes you directly to the district's Facebook page, and we tweeted using Twitter. And our USD 204 website is used frequently. And then our weekly e-newsletter came out on every Friday. And it always came out about 9 o'clock in the morning. And the parents are really in tune with the day and the time that this comes out. One of the benefits of the e-newsletters is it has all 6 buildings information of what's happening. So if you have children in multiple buildings, you're able to see a newsletter, one form of it in your email for all of your kids, and it's a one-stop shop. Another communication method is email or contacting USD 204. Our district calendar is very vital to parents. Tells them when there's no school, or when parent-teacher conferences occur, or when teacher development is taking place. Peach Jar is a new form of communication that we're using. It's a new platform. We've had it launched for probably a year. And Peach Jar is a place where residents of USD 204 that don't have children in school can access information and the current events that are taking place in school. Parents of USD 204 are also encouraged to use it, but it's kind of like a digital bulletin board of where you can post your information. We also use text alert. The prime time where we're using text alert is when there's a school's cancellation due to the weather. The platforms that we used for instruction, we used Google Classroom and we used Seesaw. And that was a new method of communication being used with parents, and it was a new learning platform that they had to experience. Our secondary kids, in middle school and high school kids, already use Google Classroom, and so they're familiar with the tools and how to access it because they were doing it on a daily basis within their classes. We did have a learning curve when it came to Seesaw when it was a shutdown, because that wasn't something that we weren't using on a daily basis with families and students at the elementary level. So basically, the targeted audiences are using the same methods of communication. So on the left are the picture icons that I use, and this is kind of like a key that you would see on a map. So I have the first one represents the paper copies, and then the mailbox is for email, and then the mother and the father and the child represent face-to-face contact. The phone receiver represents the phone and the text alert. The video represents videos, because we do sometimes have videos that are shared. And the pencil represents written communication. And then, of course, you have your social media platforms of Facebook, Twitter, Google Classroom, and Peach Jar. The two targeted audiences need to have communication be in a timely manner and early and often. I think training your public to having the communication delivered on a certain day and time of the week is something that's very beneficial. It becomes a habit. And we need to keep it simple and brief and to the point. And district communication should highlight faculty, staff, and student accomplishments. The school staff will need training on emphasizing customer service and how to communicate to family and friends and people in the community, because they have a direct impact on how school is perceived. Administrators need to develop relationships within our community, and they need to pay attention of how messages are prepared and how responses are received within the media. Students and parents and teachers and administration prefer to have a two-way communication opportunities with each other. school board prefers to have direct communication with the superintendent and school administrators. They also access information from staff and students. The external audiences have a one-way access to communication through different methods of communication, unless there's a particular topic that they need to have direct access of a two-way conversation between internal audience and an external audience. And then here's the preview again. I'll flip this over to the PDF version so you can see that file all at once. One of the things that I've got 3 things I decided that I would do better next time. I think next time I would change the color of the background and the mode of the presentation, the color background of the presentation that I'm using. One of the strengths I think the presentation had is if you look at the chart, it reads from left to right, just as you're teaching a kid to read and follow along. I thought that was good. One of the things I would change, though, is I would definitely resize some things. It's a little long to fit on a paper copy 8.5 by 11 PDF file to get all the information onto one page. So I would definitely manipulate the area on the right so it would fit better on the page. Audience has a form of communication, the methods of communication, and the internal audience has the same forms of communication. But if there was a way for me to add another arrow on this side over here, making it almost like a circle, like this is a continuous communication between the external and internal audiences, is where I would have added some more a couple of more arrows to make it look like a circle, to look like it was continuous communication. Those were the things that I would fix. I look forward to hearing your feedback, and thanks for listening to my presentation. That I would fix is these communication arrows. They represent that the external audience has a form of communication, the methods of communication, and the internal audience has the same forms of communication. But if there was a way for me to add another arrow on this side over here, making it almost like a circle, like this is a continuous communication between the external and internal audiences, is where I would have added some more a couple of more arrows to make it look like a circle, to look like it was continuous communication. Those were the things that I would fix. I look forward to hearing your feedback, and thanks for listening to my presentation.